Hey, what's up, YouTubers and those who may be watching this on Facebook as well? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back with a video review. And for this review, we're going to be taking a look at Rage 2, the sequel to the 2011, I believe it was 2011, the first Rage game for the PlayStation 4. Also available on the Xbox One and PC via Steam, but for this review we'll be taking a look at the PS4, or at least the base PS4 version. I don't have a PS4 Pro or anything like that. And if you're interested in any gameplay footage, I'll have a link in the description. In 2011, Bethesda, along with id Software, released a game known as Rage. It was basically a new IP from id, which most first-person shooter fans, or most people who've played, their games in the past, though, will know that they are famous for two of the most iconic first-person shooters out there. At least in my book, they're iconic, and that would be Doom and Wolfenstein, though. And when the game came out, it kind of got some mixed reviews on it, though. Playing it, though, I don't think it was as terrible, but not every idea was 100% perfect, though. I mean, the gunplay was good. That I liked, though, but it felt like it was trying to be an action RPG, but it really wasn't. The story, I felt there was a lack of the story in that one, though. It would have been nice because I liked the world and everything they created, though, and the open world part was kind of so-so and all that stuff. And supposedly the game did perform as well, although when Rage 2 was announced, Bethesda said it performed at an adequate level. So it was interesting to hear when Bethesda and id decided that they were going to do a sequel to the 2011 release known as Rage 2. And interestingly enough, they hired Avalanche Studio to handle the port. For those who are not familiar, Avalanche Studio is famous for doing the Just Cause series to what I feel is one of the better movie licensed games out there, Mad Max. So it was kind of interesting to see that they went with another development studio, rather than have id decide to use maybe the next iteration of their id tech or if software. But nevertheless, they decided to go with this approach. And after investing maybe like a couple weeks or so into Rage 2, I honestly will say that Rage 2 feels like, to some degree, what the first Rage game should have been. And certainly it is a good game, even if there are a few little caveats to it. So why don't we get started with the pros and cons, and we'll start with the first part. That will be the pros. The first one we'll start with is the gunplay. This is probably what id Software is famous for, and the game definitely shows. When you're into areas fighting the enemies, or when it's fast-paced and so forth, this is where the game shines the most. The gunplay, to me, gives off a bit of that Doom and Wolfenstein vibe to it, though. Yeah, there are some couple things you do. You do have nanobites where you can activate like a force field to push people's back, to a barrier, to so forth. But the main selling point is the gunplay, and the gunplay in this game, in my opinion, is top notch. So as far as gunplay goes, it's solid, and like I said, it gives off that Doom and Wolfenstein vibe to it. The next thing I do want to talk about is the story. Now, I'm not going into this expecting the story to be anything epic or anything like that. It's still, the story basically, it's still the wasteland, open world, anarchy and stuff. But I won't say it's terrible either. I'm glad that, to me, I think the story is better than the first Rage. I mean, you do have a plot, you do have, you basically are a ranger, I believe the name is John Walker, though, and interesting enough, you could choose between a man or a woman, so take your pick on that one, though. But, I mean, to me, I feel like the story is better than what the first one was, where you felt like there wasn't really any story and was kind of lacking. This one, it's better. It's not perfect, but it certainly is better, and I like the world that they created in Rage 2. And last but not least, I will have to say, is the open world approach. And it's not bad, though. I mean, there are tons of things to do in the game, ranging from hitting goons' hideouts, to raiding certain areas, to maybe looking up, finding supplies and so forth. Sometimes junk that you could sell. Other times you could find these spots to maybe create new items like health packs, overdrive packs, which you use to make yourself like super powerful for a couple seconds, and so forth. So, and there's also taking out authority sentinel guns as well. So there's plenty to do in the game. So I don't mind the open world approach. In fact, I kind of like it in a way, and it almost feels very similar to what other Avalanche Studios games of their open world approach, whether it's the Just Cause to, like I mentioned, Mad Max. So in either way, I like the open world approach to Rage 2. I think it's sort of an improvement over the first Rage game, to be exact. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 2, which will be the cons. So we'll take a little break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video review of Rage 2 for the PS4, also available on Xbox One and PC as well. So now that I gave you the pros, why don't we get started with the cons? And I really only have like 2 cons that I could think of as far as Rage 2 go, at least the 2 cons I could think of based off my time off of the excuse me, the base PS4 version. So we'll start off with the first one, and that is the open world. Now, as I mentioned in the Pro, I enjoy the open world approach that they did to the game, and I still stand behind that. I think when compared to the first Rage, I like this approach better than the first one. That said, while I enjoy the open world approach, it's not 100% perfect. In fact, there are some areas that are kind of a hit and miss. I mean, some parts come off a little bit as, well, I mean, some areas come off like a bit boring, like if you discover an area, search for items and all that stuff, that kind of like, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great or anything like that. The fun part is when you're in the open world part, is in the combat, especially when you're, going into like a goon territory or goon hideout and clearing the area out, while also looking for containers or storage in that area, to hitting any convoys and so forth, to attacking, the authority sentry guns. So there are some fun moments in Rage 2 with the open world approach, but there's also some, well, not so great moments, or some like boring moments to be exact. So to me, some of the parts are kind of a hit and miss with the open world. The combat part, when you're in the open world and you're doing the combat part, like the attack the convoys or going to a goon hideout and taking out the enemies there, those are the fun parts. But the driving and basically the going into like just salvaging certain spots and all can be kind of a little bit boring at times, and it could come off as being like it's just filter and all that. And the last thing I do want to talk about, and this is based off of the base PS4 version, is that while the game is fun and enjoyable, you cannot ignore the fact that you are playing a version that is running at 30 frames per second. Now, it's not terrible at 30 frames per second or anything like that, but it may not be the most ideal choice compared to the first Rage, which ran at a good 60 frames per second, not to mention other games like Doom and Wolfenstein from id Software. Those games ran at 60 frames per second, even on a base PS4, although it is worth pointing out those were open world style games. I mean, compare that to, say, the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X, which from what I understand, or at least according to Digital Foundry, those run at a 60 frames per second. Even PC, which is obviously with the right graphic cards or what right setup, though, you could have a game running at a good rock solid 60 frames per second, maybe even a little bit higher if you want to go that way. So to me, it's not terrible at 30 frames per second on the base PS4, but it may not be the ideal choice for everybody. And if you're rather prefer to have it run at 60 frames per second, I would say look at either playing it on the PS4, Xbox One X, or if PC is your type of system to game on, then go with the PC version if that's what you want to go with. Overall, I would say Rage 2 is definitely a fun game, and I will say it's an improvement over the first one. The gunplay is still there, it's still awesome, it still has that Doom and Wolfenstein feel to it. The open world approach is a hit and miss. There are areas I like, there are areas I don't like. The story is, well, it won't win any awards or anything, or it's going to be emotional or epic though. It's definitely better than it was in the first one though. And obviously the frame rate, depending on what system you have, either the 30 frames per second is going to be an issue for you, or it may not be an issue for you at all. I don't hate it at 30 frames per second, but I won't deny the fact I would have rather have it at 60 frames per second. And if you really want it at 60, like I said, go with PS4 Pro, Xbox One X, or a PC, or get the PC version though. So, but to me, my take is Rage 2 in a way feels like what Rage 1 should have been at the beginning in a way. It's over the top, also fun gunplay / first-person shooter mechanics that id Software is famous for with games like Doom and Wolfenstein, and it has that nice open-world approach that Avalanche Studios is famous for. So if you were disappointed with the first one, give this one a try though. Maybe this time this will change your opinion. Maybe you'll like this one better than you did maybe with the first Rage, to be exact. I certainly have enjoyed it. I've invested a couple hours into it, and it certainly is a fun game. So overall, I enjoy Rage 2. It may not be Game of the Year, material for some people, but it is definitely a good game. Interestingly enough, there has been word on the possibility of whether or not this could come to the Nintendo Switch, and I would say last time I've heard, Bethesda said that they were talking about it, but they haven't made any decision yet. Whether it comes or not, who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't come to the Nintendo Switch. But in an era where we're now seeing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt come to the Nintendo Switch, I would say it's not out of the realm of possibilities. But for right now, if you want to play Rage or anything like that, either get it on the PS4, Xbox One, or PC via Steam. Who knows if Rage 2 will come to the Switch or not. But either way, I enjoy Rage 2. It is a game I would say is worth checking out, especially if you were disappointed with the first one. Give this one a go and see if it's an improvement or you think it's better than it was with the first one. Okay, this concludes my video review of Rage 2 for the PS4. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Rage 2? Do you think it's an improvement from the first Rage game in any way? Do you like the fact that Bethesda, along with id Software, and teamed up with Avalanche Studios? If you're playing this game, are you playing it on the PC or the Xbox One X or the PS4 Pro? Or are you playing this on the base PS4 and the base Xbox One? And if you're playing on the base Xbox One and PS4, base PS4, is running it at 30 frames per second a big deal, or is it not as big of a deal in any way? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I hope you hit that like button, and I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal Me or Patreon. Excuse me. Links will be in the description of this video, and I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!